Good afternoon, and welcome to this year's session of Green and White Days Uploaded, the Honors College edition. My name is Beth German, and I'm Assistant Dean at the Honors College at Michigan State. Today, we're excited to share with you some general information about the Honors College, things that might help you as a high-achieving student as you navigate the college search process with Michigan State University. And also, and importantly, to have some students here to answer your questions. So we hope you'll get those ready for us. And I'd like to turn things over to our Assistant Director of Admissions, Mr. Andrew Abad.
Thanks, Bess. Good afternoon, everyone. As Bess mentioned, my name is Andrew Abad. I serve as the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the MSU Honors College. We're really happy to have our students here today, both to assist with our presentation and also to answer the questions that you have. Our presentation should be brief, and then we'll have time after for Q&A. But I do want to start with welcoming our students, starting with Mary Graves.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm Mary Graves, and I'm a senior supply chain management major with minors in leadership and integrated learning and Korean. I am from originally McGregor, Texas, and I'm also involved in various multicultural organizations on campus.
Hi everyone, I'm Vijay Jambunathan. I'm double majoring in nutritional sciences and human biology with double minors in bioethics and health promotion. I'm originally from Troy, Michigan, and a couple of things I'm involved with on campus are honor students actively recruiting, or H-STAR, and the Coalition of Indian Undergraduate Students.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mackin, like mac and cheese. Haha, get your laughs out now. I'm a rising sophomore like VJ in the Honors College, and I originally hail from a small town in the mountains of Southern California. I'm a major in political science, and I have double minors in economics and law, justice, and public policy. I'm involved in a number of service organizations around campus, such as Rotaract, which is affiliated with Rotary International, if you've ever heard of it, H-STAR, which I'm sure a couple of you have heard of through VG. And then I'm also in the Honors Service Club, which I'll discuss more later. And now I'd like to turn things back over to Bess and Andrew.
Thanks very much to all of you for being here today. So I wanted to introduce the Honors College by giving you a little bit of history about our program. Our college, we think, is one of the oldest honors colleges in the nation. Nobody really argues with us about that. We've been around for a long time, and fortunately, our founders had a great vision for what your Michigan State University experience might be like. This is a great comprehensive university, and they envisioned a program that would give you uncommon freedom and flexibility as you navigate your college program. And so they went about structuring a program that is actually pretty different than even others that came after it. And so we use their philosophy of freedom and flexibility to guide what we do as an honors college. And I'd like to go over some of those ways that we operationalize that freedom and flexibility for you. So one really important thing is that you can be in any major and be in the Honors College at Michigan State. We have over 200 majors at MSU, and we want you to be able to, as high achieving students, take advantage of the breadth and opportunity that is at Michigan State. We don't want a situation where you can't take advantage of the good stuff in college from right away during the beginning of your college experience. And so we'll give you access to all of our majors, and we know that some of you will take advantage of multiple programs and majors. You also can be in any one of our residential colleges and also be in the Honors College at the same time. So it's important for you to know that you can exercise what we call your multi-potentiality at Michigan State. We want you to be able to be an engineering major and a music major if that's what you so choose. We want you to study the humanities and languages alongside your sciences if that's what you choose. We want you to do any combination of things that will allow you to take advantage of the breadth of Michigan State from early on in your college career. And so some of those good things that we think sometimes are saved till the end of college will be accessible to you right away. Things like undergraduate research, access to small class sizes, access to perhaps challenging courses outside your major that just interest you. So you'll have opportunity to access those things, the good things about college right away. another way that we give you really uncommon flexibility and freedom is by freeing you from all of MSU's standard set of general education courses. Now, here at Michigan State, we call those integrative studies classes. So we have integrative studies in arts and humanities and social science and physical and biological sciences. And as a high achieving student, we'll ask you to make substitutions for those standard courses. So instead of taking a class called Integrative Studies in Social Science, you might elect to take a psychology class or a sociology class, or political science, anthropology. And the same is true for arts and humanities and social and physical and biological sciences. You'll have access to all of our courses to build your own individualized program. We have as many honors programs, in fact, as we have honors students. Each one of you will decide how to use Michigan State differently, using your multi-potentiality to build your program in general education, and perhaps several majors and minors, as you've heard from our students. So another important aspect of our program is the ability to waive prerequisites, most course prerequisites that exist on our classes. So oftentimes, if you're looking at a college curriculum, you see things like, this class is not open to first-year students, or for this class, you have to be a major in history. So those are just a couple of examples, but you wouldn't be bound to most of those course prerequisites. So that gives our students the ability to move freely around the university, even taking things outside of their major that are interesting to them and also challenging. So now I'll turn things over to our students. They're going to share some things about our program that we'd like to emphasize outside the classroom. Oh, excuse me. I wanted to cover first how we do honors coursework. So you have the opportunity as a Michigan State honors student to take honors classes. You'd probably expect that. We have honors courses offered all over the university, over 200 classes, in fact, that are designated as honors classes. We ask our students to do 8 of those honors requirements before they graduate. And there are many ways that they can take these honors experiences during college. So one of those would be an honors class that's tagged with an H. You know that's Calculus 2 honors. You could also do a regular class and make it into an honors course by having a contract with your professor to do extra work in a regular class. And so that might be a service project. It might be that you do an extra research paper, you make a presentation, and that's what makes the regular course into an honors course, that contract with your professor. And in case you didn't think this was a limitless educational opportunity, it is, because you also have access to graduate courses as an honors college student. So this access enables you to go even beyond our undergraduate offerings to find things that are interesting and challenging for you, and maybe even eventually to enroll as a dual enrollment student with both an undergraduate and a graduate degree at the same time. So those ways to earn honors credit can all be used toward your honors course experience. And you'll see here on the left side some words that our students use to describe honors courses. But I would like to encourage you to get your questions ready for our students, because they'd love to hear what your questions are about honors classes. And at this time, I'll turn things over now to Mary to start to talk about some of our high impact experiences at Michigan State.
Thank you, Bess. So as Bess mentioned, the Honors College really wants you to go beyond that traditional learning environment and to step into some high impact experiences. One of those being study abroad. So for me, study abroad was a big reason why I came to MSU, because I knew it was ranked within the top 10 programs in the nation. And in the Honors College, over 45% of students do a study abroad at least once during their time. The Honors College also gives you access to the exclusive Euro Scholars Research Abroad program, where students can research at top European universities for up to a year. And there's different scholarships and aid available to honors students to help fund these endeavors. Me personally, as I mentioned before, I'm a Korean minor. So last year, I got to go to Seoul, South Korea and study at Yonsei University for an entire semester. It was a life-changing experience, and I really loved it because I also got to connect it to my degree and take business courses, as well as Korean culture courses from my minor, and of course, utilize the language that I had been learning for several years now. So I really recommend to you, when you come to MSU, to engage in a study abroad And even with COVID, as Bess mentioned, there are honors options. And I did one of my honors options actually in relation to Spanish, where I made a blog entirely in Spanish. So you definitely have a lot of flexibility and free will to explore a lot of different options. So within community engagement, I'm going to shift things, and the Honors College provides a variety of options to get involved in service during your time at MSU. One of those, as Bess mentioned before, are honors options. So you can propose an honors option with the service learning focus. So seek out a project in the community or an organization with which you could do service, get that approved by your professor, and you can do that ongoing throughout the semester. There's also the Honors College Impact Program, which I was a part of, which is a week-long service experience that happens a week before classes start. It allows you as an incoming freshman to meet people before you step on campus, as well as connect with different organizations in the Lansing community that you might want to continue service with. It was a great experience to get network. And then also there are different seminars that happen during that where you get to learn more about inequity and inequality and some of the things that those organizations within the Lansing community have addressed through their mission. The other opportunities are 2 Honors College service orgs, which are student run, and one being Honors College Service Club, and the other is Honors Times 2. Now I will pass it on to VG so she can talk about undergraduate research.
Thanks, Mary. So like she said, I'll be talking a bit about research at MSU. So I'm sure you know that MSU is a large public research institution. So several undergrads are able to participate in research during their time here. And there are plenty of ways for you to go about doing this. So one way is by taking an honors research seminar. So these are offered every year by really engaging faculty members, and it helps you get your feet wet with research, I would say. So you kind of learn more about, what is research? What does it entail? And you have a faculty member to help guide you, and you also learn with other students. And so these are offered on a variety of topics every year. And so you can talk to an honors advisor about which ones are being offered that match your interests the best. Then there's also the professorial assistantship, or PA program, that's offered to about 200 students in the Honors College every year. And this allows for a paid research position for the first 2 years that you're on campus. So it really stresses like an early involvement in research. And this was actually something that significantly affected my decision to come to MSU. I knew that as a pre-med student, research was something I really wanted to do, and it was important for me to do. But it's like really intimidating to, think about having to, put yourself out there and email a bunch of professors. And so it was really great to know that as soon as I walked on campus the first day, I already had a research position in a lab that suited my interests with a faculty member who had agreed to take me on. And what I appreciated was that also through this program, I wasn't just doing the basic scut work of, cleaning test tubes and, things like that. I was able to engage in the projects, right from my first year. And so that was a really great experience. Overall, research really lets you discover new interests. My research really focuses on analyzing the nutrient content of eggs, grass, and beef samples, which I really didn't think I'd be doing, but I found it super interesting. And research also gives you the opportunity to make really deep connections with faculty members and other students who share your passion, and it's good experience for work and professional school. Just one last thing I'd like to touch on is the fact that students are able to share and present their research in professional formal settings through on-campus research forums, and some students even go on to share their research at a national level. And so now I'm going to hand it off to Mackin, who's going to talk a bit about the Honors College community.
All right, thank you, VG. So besides for just enabling for unparalleled academic experience in terms of rigor and flexibility, the Honors College at Michigan State also allows you to have a wide number of experiences outside of the classroom, in the community, and also with other members of the Honors College. So I'd like to highlight for you a few of those aspects, including the housing, some of the honors organizations, and then also some of the events that the Honors College puts on regularly for students. So first, I'd like to touch on the housing. So there are 8 residence halls across Michigan State, generally 1 in each neighborhood, that are going to have what's known as an honors floor. And on this honors floor, which is an optional choice, you have the opportunity to room on the same floor as a bunch of other students within the honors college. And it's not going to be restricted by major or minor academic discipline in any way. So for example, last year, my first year, I lived in the honors floor in Phillips Hall. And when I lived there, I didn't have many friends coming from California, but within the first couple weeks, I had a bunch of friends who were in theater, biology, microphysics, and everything in between. And this opens so many doors in terms of not just having diverse friends, but also being able to learn from their experiences, as they not only came from different disciplines academically, but they also came from a bunch of different places around the world. Like I said, this is an optional experience, but this is one that I personally would highly recommend, as I had a great experience, as most of these people that lived on the floor with me continue to be my great friends that I keep in touch with to this day. Next, I'd like to move on to some of the honors organizations that are offered through the college. Now, Michigan State is big, and registered student organizations are a big deal on campus. There's about 900 of them if you take the time to sit down and count them. But a number of these have the unique advantage of being tied to the honors college, and not only having the faculty, but also the resources that are there to help facilitate service, but also recruiting and other efforts that the honors college does. These programs that I feel are particularly of interest that might be unique compared to what other universities have to offer. The first one that I'd like to highlight, as VG had mentioned, she's a part of, I'm a part of, and Mary's a part of as well, is HSTAR, which is Honors Students Actively Recruiting. Now, this is a student organization that allows for us to put on events such as live panels like this, or other in-person events normally when we don't have these restrictions, such as the Alumni Distinguished Scholarship Competition. And it gives us the chance to discuss our experiences in the Honors College and volunteer our time and our wisdom for the benefit of you, so that you can help in choosing your college experience. Now, this is an organization that I've come to really be fond of, just because it gives me the chance to help other people that I was in their position, and I understand what it feels like to have been lost and confused during my college search process. And it really helps me help them, and that makes me happy. Another organization I highlight that Mary had alluded to is Honors Times 2. Now, this is a unique organization where it takes its efforts outside of just campus and it goes to the greater Lansing community. Now, this organization gives students the chance to be paired with a gifted elementary student, typically between 2nd and 5th grade, and it allows them to be a mentor for them directly, not just academically, but also personally as well. So approximately once a week, you'll meet with this elementary student. You'll help them with some kind of academic project, help them with homework, answer your questions, talk about other things that they might want to discuss with you. And then at the end of the year, you get to present what project you did with your student, and you get to celebrate in your accomplishment together. And this is a really great organization, just that it helps them grow, but it also helps you grow as a mentor and as a servant of the community. The last thing that I'd like to touch on for my bit of the presentation is some of the social events that the Honors College puts on. Now, Michigan State does a really good job of making our community very strong and tightly knit, as it is diverse. One of the things that I really like are the fireside chats that are offered in the college, which are these events that are typically going to be within They're typically going to be housed within Eustis Cole Hall, the center of the Honors College, and it allows students to engage in a forum where they can discuss social topics and ideas of interest and have a forum of debate that's going to be really unique, and it's going to be really thorough and diverse, because Honors College students are always going to be more engaged, more informed typically than your average student. And it's going to allow you to grow. It's going to allow you to learn a lot. And then one of the other things that's a little more social, a little less academic, is the Honors College Ball, which is put on every year. Last year, it was in the beginning of the winter semester, which is basically just a big dance where everyone gets to celebrate together and revel and have a great time. Now, like I said, the Spartan community is already strong at Michigan State. We care, but within the Honors College, it creates a smaller cohort that allows you to bond with students that come from all around the world and all different kinds of disciplines that will help you grow holistically as a person, as a scholar, and as a servant. At this point, I'd like to turn things back over to Andrew and Beth.
Thanks, Mackin. As you learn more about our program, you may be wondering at this point what our Honors College students do after they graduate. So this is a good time to talk a little bit about our outcomes for our students. And you can see here on this slide just a few of the great universities and institutions, as well as employers that our students will end up at after graduation. And about 96%, the number goes up and down every year slightly, but that's pretty much our placement rate for our graduates within 6 months. So very, very, very high comparatively at not only the university level, but even at an honors college level. The idea that we place so many of our students. A number of them will look towards graduate or professional school. About 70% of our graduates who go that route will be placed in the top 100 research universities. Just over half of them have funding, and that includes all graduate and professional school. About 70% of those looking at MA or PhD studies will be funded. So we do really well, not just at placing these students and making sure that they have jobs or they have offers for graduate school when they graduate, but more importantly, that they're being funded to do so. At this point, I also want to talk just a little bit about scholarships and merit aid. So you can see here on this slide, we do have a number of incoming student scholarships, both in-state and out-of-state. These are not things that you have to apply for separately. So when you apply to Michigan State, you'll be considered not only for the Honors College, but also for the awards that we give out. VG mentioned the Professorial Assistantship Program. We do award that to a limited number of students each year, about 200 of those. So that's also on that list. And Mackin had mentioned briefly the Alumni Distinguished Scholarship Competition, which is going to be really the main way that MSU students compete for full rides. So that is going to be a big competition. We bring in about 1,200 students across 2 weekends in early next year, so probably the end of January, early February. And that's where we're going to really find out who we're going to give our full rides to. We have about 15 of those awards, about 20 other full tuition scholarships, and then about 80 other awards in total for about 120 scholarships that we give out through this competition. As an Honors College student, once you arrive on campus, you'll actually have the ability to apply for additional funding each spring. So we have a few general and program related awards, but we really try and fund those high impact experiences. So when we talk about education abroad, when we talk about doing research on campus, when we talk about even service learning, we have a lot of funding mechanisms to help support students as they do those. So that's something, again, you can apply for every year as you develop and change and grow within the Honors College. I do want to talk lastly, just very briefly about admissions. The Honors College is by invitation only. So in the same way that you don't need to apply extra for scholarships, you do not need to do anything additionally to be considered for the Honors College. So the MSU application does open August 1st of each year. I think that's really important to know just as you're looking at the sort of landscape. August 1st should be when the Common App opens. You can also apply on our MSU website or through the Coalition app. Typically, once you're admitted to Michigan State, then we receive your information and will consider you separately for the Honors College. There is also another program within the Honors College umbrella called the Academic Scholars Program, which is open to about 200 students that we invite separately. This is a pathway program. So you would do a lot of the same things in your first year. You'd still have access to our great advising staff in the Honors College, the ability to take honors sections of courses, but it's a way really to have a smaller cohort of students that come in and really come and grow together in that first year. And then lastly, if for some reason you do not join us as an incoming freshman in the Honors College or through the ASP program, we do have what's called the campus admissions, where we look at all students after the completion of your first semester. So we're going to look at how well you do in that first semester at MSU, and then typically by early February, we'll send out those invitations to join us at that point. So at this stage, we're pretty much done with the presentation. I do want to go ahead and invite our students back in as we transition into the Q&A. I do see a number of questions have already come through, but please feel free to submit any additional questions through the chat, and they will go ahead and funnel them to us. But I do want to go ahead and get things started with the first question. What has been your favorite part of the college experience at MSU thus far? So let me go ahead and turn it over to Mary to start.
Thanks, Andrew. So for me, I definitely mentioned it before, but I really came here to go and study abroad. So my study abroad experience was really one of my favorite things that I have done at MSU. I got to, go into a different culture that I've always wanted to experience. I got to be around a lot of not only Korean students, but students from all over the world. But I will say from an MSU sense, that is also something that I've gotten to experience because I have a lot of international friends. I have a lot of friends from really all over the world. So our campus is diverse, and that's something that I really love and I've cherished really from being on MSU, is being able to learn about other people's cultures and get professional connections as well, through various organizations to set myself up for hopefully international career.
For me, I would say rather than like one specific moment, it's kind of more of the atmosphere of MSU in general. So I'm someone who thrives really in collaborative environments where, you want everyone else to succeed. And so I really liked that at MSU. It's not like this ultra competitive cutthroat environment where you only are looking out for yourself. I feel like everyone here is very, very kind to other people. Your professors are always, they want you to succeed. Other students want you to succeed. In the study lounges, I know at like Lyman Briggs, like if there's in Holmes Hall, if there's an organic chemistry exam, everyone in that lounge is studying, and everyone just goes up to each other and says, hey, like, do you know how to do this problem? I don't know. I don't understand it. And it's such a collaborative environment, which I don't think you can find everywhere else. And so that's something that I really appreciate at MSU.
Yeah, I would say that I appreciate the collaborative environment as well, especially from a social science standpoint of learning about the history of Michigan and about talking about current events in the United States and other political issues. That's been great for me. But I would say my favorite experience so far has come from what's known as the first year seminar abroad program, which is something you apply for where it allows you to go to another country and study abroad for 2 weeks before you even arrive at so before you come. And last year I got to go, and in fact last year today I was in Ireland, and I got to spend 2 weeks talking about the Irish Constitution and comparing it through multiple lenses to the United States Constitution, where I got to spend time in Dublin, Galway, and most interesting to me, Belfast. Because one thing that's always been interesting for me is the troubles in Northern Ireland, which is a very deep political dilemma, which I can't get into. It's way too complicated for this call. But it really helped me illuminate the problems of the troubles. And as I came to MSU and I became involved with research, I became involved with a research project analyzing how the fallout of the troubles continues to endure today based off what I saw in Belfast last summer.
That's great. Thank you all for your great responses. The next question really deals with that transition from high school. I know that, that college environment can be a lot different than probably what high school students are used to. Especially for high achieving students. I think even, when you look at AP and dual enrollment courses, that transition to college can still be a little tenuous at times. So what would you tell our prospective students about the transition between being a high school student to now being an honors college student at Michigan State?
Well, one thing that I would say is depending on how your high school career was is going to depend on how easily you adjust. For me personally, I took, 5, I think, AP courses during my senior year. And I also did select soccer, and I was getting home at about 10 p.m. every day. So I was very hectic and busy already. But I will say that in college, you tend to have a lot more free time unless you're involved in 50 different organizations. So it's really about being self-motivated to study and self-directed to go to resources in case you're struggling. Tutoring is not a bad thing in college, and it's honestly encouraged because you are paying for college and those are resources that are there to help you. So if you're not utilizing them, you're wasting it. So mainly I say that if you're going in that transition, do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to utilize the resources available to you because they will help you succeed. And that's really how I've been successful and how I was able to adjust pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. Like Mary said, I was going to talk a bit about being self-motivated. So in high school, you have like your 6 or 7, however many classes you have every single day of the week from a set time. In college, you pick your own schedule. So you may not even have class some days. Like for me in fall, I don't even have class Mondays and Fridays. But it's about, being self-motivated to engage in other opportunities because it's really what you make of it. So you want to be able to fill those things with, doing research or volunteering or, going to different organizations and meeting new people. And so I feel like you can really make or break your college experience. So I would just encourage you to, use up that free time, engage in different activities that are of interest to you, kind of explore new things, meet new people. And so you're not as restricted as in high school. And a lot of times people don't know what to do with that time. So my advice is use that time wisely.
Now, speaking of being restricted in high school, I come from a one stoplight town where I knew everyone growing up all the way from preschool until I graduated from high school. I came from a very small, politically homogenous town where I didn't really have many opportunities to branch out and meet new people from other places. When I first came to MSU and realized that it was 10 times bigger than my whole town was, just the campus, I realized it was my first opportunity in my whole life where I could meet new people and learn new things and see things from new points of view. I learned very quickly that with how big it is, it was a little intimidating at first. University smaller. Making the big university smaller and looking at it from that outlook allowed me to find my groups where I could go and talk about politics, talk about life, talk about foreign experiences, talk about sports, whatever it might be. But it also did take just a little time with how different things were. But overall, the transition isn't too bad socially. Academically, you need to focus on those resources that MSU provides for you, because it is going to be a lot different than most high schools you're going to be coming from. Leaning on the writing lab and the math learning center are not going to be bad. And it's not an admission that you're a bad writer or a bad mathematician, but they're only there to help you succeed, because you're planning on going to college. If you're at Michigan State, you're a nerd enough because you're going for 4 more years of school, and you have to be a little nerdy to do that. So overall, you just have to come into college with an open mindset, ready to learn, ready to grow, and try new things.
Awesome, thank you. So then the next questions I've been getting talk a little bit about honors classes. So I do want to sort of shift our discussion briefly. We have a question that says, how are the honors classes different than regular classes? Is there a heavier workload? And then also, are there any discussion-based honors courses? And if so, can you give an example of your favorite?
So I am in the business college, as I mentioned before, supply chain management major. I have taken a variety of courses within there, and really how it's structured, at least within our college, is that you basically are doing a pretty similar curriculum as the normal courses, except that there is just kind of an added element, whether that is an extra project or an extra assignment that you have to do that kind of takes it a step deeper. So with some of mine, some of them have been like case studies where we have worked in a little cohort and, done a case study and presented those findings to the class. And we've also done extra reading assignments to maybe dive deeper into the material. So I did that in one of my accounting honors club courses. So it does depend on the course, but that's what I've experienced. I haven't had a discussion-based one, I would say.
So my experience is a little different just because I've been at MSU for only 1 year, but I actually have 5 honors options, but none of them were from honors classes. And so I really took the route where I was taking, normal classes and then made them honors. And so with that, it's usually just some kind of extra assignment. And this really varies. I know it kind of sounds like, oh my God, extra work right in the beginning, but it's really what you make of it. And so for one of my my nutrition class, we had to write an extra paper about hunger and food scarcity in the United States. And then we actually had a discussion session afterwards with the professor and the other honor students. And so that was kind of like a discussion-based honors option. And that one I really liked because that class had 2 sections of 400 students. So there's probably 800 students taking this class. And there's maybe 15 of us who did the honors option. And so it was actually a really good way to, meet other students and have the professor actually, know your name. And we had a very deep conversation for an hour or 2 about that. So that's kind of my experience. It's not entirely an honors course, but making regular courses into an honors experience.
I would say my honors experience revolves primarily around the Social Science Scholars Program, of which I'm a member, which puts me in a cohort of about 20 other students who are within the College of Social Science. So we have anthropology, urban development, and other majors like that. And we take a semester that relates to current political, social, economic issues that we debate together. And with your point of discussion-based classes, these are primarily what these classes are, where we'll read about a book every 2 or 3 weeks. And as we're reading this book, we're discussing what the authors are bringing up. And we look at the data and the evidence and the arguments that they're forming. And we're encouraged in this class to take different points of view and different stances, because we as social scientists have an obligation to understand things from multiple points of view, because otherwise we don't get a holistic view of the problems in our world. So last semester, the class we took focused on humans and their natural environment. So this to you might think climate change, but we also discussed the rise of technology such as the steam engine, of sailing, of other things. And we also discussed what humans were back 10,000 years ago when we were hunter-gatherers before we even had fire. So it's tracing this lineage now, comparing how we got here, where we're going next, and our implications in the world that we only have one of. And that to me is really engaging. And as an honors class goes, I love it, because my only assignment is a little weekly paper. And most of our grade revolves around how much we understand the discussion and about how much we can communicate with our professor rather than just regurgitating information we might learn.
Absolutely. So I do want to be cognizant of our time. We have about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to try and get through some of these questions a little bit quicker, and I'll try and direct a little bit. Sam asked, can you do both the Honors College and be a student athlete? And I will say overwhelmingly, yes, you can. We do have a number of student athletes on campus who are honors students. I think the flexibility within the Honors College really helps to facilitate that. And, we certainly have students who are busy in all things, across the college campus, whether it be academics or social events and other things. So something to know. The next question I do want to touch on is Amber's question, asking how easy was it to find a research position, and is it competitive? So maybe VG can touch just a little bit on how that process goes.
So with my research experience, I was placed into my lab through the PA program that I mentioned before. And I would say to be offered a PA is pretty competitive, because it's usually only 200 students per year. And so with that, it's kind of more like you're sent to survey and you're already offered a position. But there are several other ways to get research positions if you are in the PA program. So I mentioned, doing an honors research seminar is one way to kind of get your feet wet. Or I know other people who have approached professors after taking their course for a semester, just saying, hey, I really, like what you do. Is there, could I join your lab? And a lot of faculty are really open to that, or some even do just kind of a cold email in the beginning where you just reach out to several different faculty members who are engaging in research that suits your own interests, and then you're able to get into their lab that way. And so it's really your path into research can really vary on how you do it, but generally most people are able to find a position somewhere.
Awesome. So for our next question, Ryan asks, what kind of social activities or events are offered to Honors College students? And I know, Mackin, you touched on a few of those in the slide during the presentation, but maybe we can all just talk a little bit briefly about what the social activities that each of you are involved in. Maybe we'll have Mary start off.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So within honors social activities, I will say that one of the main ones that I like to go to is I'd say it's the ice cream social. And I think that we do that different times during the year. And it's kind of just a study. It's kind of really just to meet and study, which is nice because I feel like the Honors College is in a pretty centralish location on campus. And I'm not always going to there because, again, I'm a business student and I can pretty much walk outside my door and be there. But it is good because I get the opportunity to interact with a lot of other honors students who I don't get to see every day unless I'm taking an honors class potentially.
So there's obviously, I know Mackin talked about, there's a lot of different Honors College organizations, and a lot of those will have social events that go with them. So I know I've been to a meeting for Mosaic, which is a club that really promotes diversity and fosters multiculturalism. So there they'll have a multicultural dinner as an event where, we could just go and try food from all these different cuisines and just, chill and talk. Or some host like movie nights and things like that. And then, like Megan mentioned, there's the Honors College Ball. And then in the beginning of the year, there's also an Honors College like picnicking, and we talk like there's a club fair too. Again, I'm not sure how everything will work exactly with our COVID situation, but a lot of the social events come from the organizations.
Right. And then I would just like to reemphasize my points that the Honors College Ball is a great time once a year, but it's a great big event that everyone loves and enjoys. The fireside chats are pretty consistent. If I remember correctly, they were every month. Correct me if I'm wrong. But attending those were really great just because, again, it gave me the opportunity to discuss my feelings about certain things and also learn from others' point of view. And then also enjoy each other's company. The annual picnic that the Honors College does is really great in the beginning of the year because it gives you the chance to meet even more people outside of your honors floor and honors organizations. And generally, just being able to interact with Honors College students in my classes and seeing them around campus, it's easier to connect with them because, yes, we can sympathize in the greater workload that we get from our advanced projects and the research we do and the things we do around campus, but they're also people too. And they're people who care about things, and we can care about things together.
Absolutely. So we do have time for one more question. So I'm going to let our students sort of close us out with this. Do you find that being a part of the Honors College has enhanced your experience at MSU so far? So maybe just some closing thoughts about being in the Honors College and being at Michigan State to round things off this afternoon.
I will start off saying absolutely. I feel like it has done that. Kind of like Mackin, I am from a rural town, very small, like 5,000 people in Texas. So going to Michigan was already kind of a culture shock and already kind of like, wow, the state is different and the school is huge. So being in the Honors College helped me get like a little group of friends that I'm taking similar classes with, I have similar interests with. We could, coordinate our schedules to a certain extent together. And it really was a good way to meet people who are also very serious about their education. Not saying that every MSU student isn't, but, definitely people who are looking to go above and beyond. So it was really nice to have that kind of cohort going on throughout my college career, because I feel like the Honors College definitely allows you to do that. And really, the faculty, they can connect you with other students within your major. You can find other students within what you were doing, even if you haven't met them. You could just get a kind of informal introduction if you need that or if you'd like that.
Mm-hmm. Something that I would like to touch on first is kind of like just like a misconception that some people have, like just because you're in the Honors College doesn't mean like that's like your only personality trait. Or you can also be in a residential college or a bunch of other programs while also being in the Honors College. It's not like exclusive in that way. Like I'm in Lyman Briggs College, which is also, a residential college, but I can do both. And so I think like all it does is it gives you a little smaller community within like a large university. So obviously Michigan State, like I'm from, Southeastern Michigan. I went to a big high school that's like a big feeder school into Michigan State. So I like that, Big 10, college atmosphere. But then with the Honors College, if you're on honors housing, you can meet more, people there and make like those closer connections. Or, through your classes, you can have, smaller classes, you can meet more people there, you can make closer connections with faculty, and you can still do other programs like Mackin's in the Social Science Scholars Program, I'm in Lyman Briggs. And so it doesn't really restrict you in any way. And same with like housing too, like you can choose honors housing or you don't have to. Like personally, I didn't do honors housing, but a lot of my friends were on the honors floor just 2 floors below. So I was there all the time. So I think it only enhances your experience. It gives you access to so many different opportunities and ways to meet other people, but it really doesn't restrict you in any way. So you really do get it all.
So as BG and I have touched on previously, it's much easier to make a big university like MSU smaller than it is to make a smaller university bigger. So for example, when I was searching for colleges, I was originally looking at a lot of like liberal arts schools and places like that where it was easy to like network with people and have a tight-knit community. because at the time I wasn't even aware that something like the Honors College existed, where I could have all of these networking opportunities with these clubs and form deep connections with faculty and as well as my fellow students. And at MSU, through the programs I'm in, the Honors College has only enhanced my experience because it's made me more free to study exactly what I want to do, where traditional political science students might just do like writing courses and their political science general curriculum and the general education requirements at the school. I get to take more what I want, where I'm taking economics courses and I'm also taking a couple computer coding courses and a couple psychology courses that interested me as well. And having the freedom to do that is something that you can only get at a tier 1 school as big as Michigan State, where you have all the diverse majors and opportunities that a school like that has to offer. And overall, my honors experience has been great, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else. And I know that even though I've only been on campus 1 year, I definitely made the right choice.
All right, so I think this is going to be it for our student panel today. Thank you again to all of our students for taking the time. I do want to go ahead and pass things over to Dr. German to close us out this afternoon.
Thank you, Andrew, and to our students as well. On behalf of all of us in the Honors College, our staff, our faculty, and our students, thank you very much for investing this time with us this afternoon. I think you can see that we feel passionately about having high achieving students at Michigan State, and I hope you've learned a bit about how you might be able to see yourself here. And so we'd like to pass on our own contact information for your use during your college search. We're people that like to get to know you during your college search process. So please don't wait or hesitate to contact us. You can also contact our students using our honors@msu.edu email. Our website has information about our admissions process if you forget about that. And we're looking forward to getting to know you over the year. So this is a unique time, but we're strong at Michigan State and we're stronger together. So we're looking forward to getting to know you and hopefully welcoming you to our community. Thanks again for your time, and go green.